I often ask myself, and many people also ask me, as to why I vlog and why I run a blog. My apologies, because I have not been blogging recently, and that is more laziness than anything else. So I should come back to blogging, properly posting maybe 2-3 posts a week, if not one a day, which I used to do earlier. But video format is better, because more videos of mine get shared than the articles that I write. Like it's very easy to go onto YouTube and share this, or on your phone itself to share this, so the spread is wider, and this gives me more fun, because I'm anyway speaking from what I've already written in the past. So 12 years effort of writing can translate to at least 3 years of blogging without doing anything fresh. Having said that, I do read a lot of presentations and market research reports and news reports, etc. And some amazing writers are around. I mean, I can't name one or two, because that would be leaving out maybe another 10 who are really good. So largely, unfortunately, we have American content, much more than you have, say, French content or German content or Japanese or Indian. At least some Indian content is now available, but very rarely can you get content from any other countries. But yes, I devour a lot of that. I like to talk about it, I like to write about it, but I'm not running this vlog to tell you which share to buy. It would not be possible at all, because I can tell you what share to buy today, and tomorrow if I change my mind, how am I going to convey it to you? So don't expect in this channel to get things like which share to buy and what to do now and things like that. I can generally talk about Gyan on IPOs, but whether to put in each specific IPO, I may not be the best person to answer. Let me tell you very broadly, I don't invest in IPOs, because I believe that if it is really a good share, I'll get 10 shares or 15 shares, and if it's a bad share, I'll get too much of it and I won't be able to sell it. Some exceptions were, of course, there. I invested in TCS IPO, but I also bought TCS when it got listed, right? So yes, you apply in an IPO more to find out what is happening in the market, but you end up getting, ended up getting 17 shares. 17 became 34, 34 became 68, but still it does not move the needle in my portfolio, right? But luckily I bought more shares of TCS, and that has been a good investment. So some of these things I will share, some of these things I will tell you what worked for me. I'm not even saying it will work for you. I don't know whether it will work for you. I don't know what is your personality. And like Morgan Housel says, personal finance is more personal than finance. So if I don't know you, my advice for you would be pretty useless. I also answer queries of people who ask questions, but I realize that if I'm answering a query of Suresh, Ramesh does not seem to be interested. So broad Gyan is much better than specific Gyan, what individuals should do. And since I'm no longer a salesman or an AUM gathering person, it does not interest me on a personal level. So I normally forward that to other friends and who are in the profession of wealth management. I am not seeking business in the wealth management business, but yes, there are some clients whom I have and for whom I have helped in the past, and with whom I have invested, from whom I have earned money. But that is still more past than present and future. I am not too keen to do that. And yeah, occasionally I do portfolio reviews of friends and friends, but that's not really what I really like to do. But by talking to people through the video, I like to share the process and then get feedback. Of course, I get some amazingly stupid feedback saying things like change your wardrobe, otherwise all your money will get unused, things like that. But I also get very good quality feedback. For example, I suddenly realized that for a 65-year-old, chasing alpha does not make any sense. For him, it is far more important to know what will happen to his money after his death, right? Is he leaving it in the hands of people whom he has taught and trained how to manage, right? That's far more important than getting an extra 1%. Especially if you have a net worth of say 30 crores, how does it matter whether you earn an extra 30 lakhs because your annual expenses are less than 10 lakhs? So it doesn't really matter. You don't have to add to it. You have to manage it. That is far more important, right? Should I call myself a scholar? I think that would not be fair. As a learner, maybe yes. because I still keep learning from a lot of people, and today I'm learning a lot from people much younger than me, right? That's very nice and interesting, because our traditional idea of a guru being older than you is gone. So all the people from whom I'm learning today, whatever it is, are much younger than me, right from how to fix a cycle to how to swim or how to hold the weights in the gym. All those people are well, mathematically speaking, young enough to be my children, right? But it's good fun learning. So learner is better than scholar, or trainer is better than coach, because coaching is something still very personal, and I'm unable to do it. You have to sit with the person, spend a lot of time, and I'm not too keen to do it for love or money. I do a lot of coaching, but it is again without any money, and I don't want to do it as a profession. So I will do it only for people whom I know very well and where I feel involved enough to do it. Otherwise, no. But coming on a public platform and making statements, and will I reveal my portfolio ever? Answer is no. That's my personal portfolio. But occasionally through my talks, you will know that I've invested in Coromandel International, in Cholamandalam Finance, HDFC Bank, HDFC Life Insurance. I've sold HDFC Mutual Fund. Does not mean I will always be a seller. I could be buying it tomorrow. I don't believe too much in index funds, but part of my money is in index funds. Part of my money is with being managed by Naren, Prashant Jain, Anand Radhakrishnan, and there are a few others, and I really don't know the names also of some of the newer fund managers. But yes, some money is lying with a lot of other fund managers. I have some money abroad. I have some money in the US, in Japan, in Europe, China, and Asia ex-Japan, right? I have funds in many places. Some are doing well, some are doing badly, and that makes me happy, because if everything is doing well, I would be very worried, and that would be a fantastic sign that the boom is really too high. The blog and the video have also told me who are the persons worth listening to, who are the persons not worth listening to, and people will comment, and comments do not matter. But there are some excellent comments, some excellent queries, some of them really worth handling. Some of them I've spoken to the people, and I think it's superb. So all kinds of things are happening. So would I like to call myself a salesman? Would I like to call myself a learner or a scholar? Well, salesman is something done and dusted. I don't think I want to go back to that. Scholar, no, because I think the more you know, the more you realize how less you know. So equity markets is an ocean, debt markets is a bigger ocean, right? So at best I would have scratched the tip of the surface, and so still too much to learn, too much to interact, and too much to give back to people who will listen to this and then pass it on to other people. That's again great fun. I have acquired a lot of skills by doing this, and maybe some of my skills have been honed. Maybe my videos are better today than it was 8-9 months ago. Hopefully my training would be better than what I was a few years ago, and interacting with people, interacting with salespeople, interacting with end investors, interacting with doctors has definitely given me a lot of benefit in my investing. Overconfidence bias is something which all of us suffer from. You need to take your ego, put it under a road roller and crush it. Your past is not very useful for your future investments. Things are a dynamic world. There are enough reasons to be in cash at all points in time, and there is enough reason to be in equity at all points in time, right? Finding a balance is something which you have to do. I'm done and dusted with my investments. I'm not saying I still have a long way to go. So therefore, capital preservation for me is far more important than capital growth, right? Some of you here will be looking for capital growth. If you're 22, you're looking for capital growth. If you're 50, you're looking for capital stability. At 70, you're looking for capital simplicity. And at 85, you're looking for just the cash coming into your account on the 7th of every month or 5th of every month, right? That's all you're looking for. So at different points, different things is what you will need. You will find something here. I am hoping that I will amuse you, trick you, get you to read some of the stuff, get you to implement some of this. Generally have fun. If you benefit from this, thank you. If you don't, I think maybe we should both move on. This is not the place for you, perhaps. Thank you.